Hi guys, I'm back for another week, and today I am going to be covering crystals for stress and a very noisy household, as well as continuing on with my story that I was starting last week. And I've actually been asked 2 questions, which is really cool. So, starting off, I was going to continue on with my story. Anyway. So I was a scientist, obviously. I just finished my degree, gotten out, did a year of research, got out of that, thank goodness, the aforementioned rats, and I started working in the field. Now, I was actually working as a histopathologist, so working with tissues which involved a lot of chemicals. I ended up with massive chemical exposure, in and out of hospital, ended up getting fired for too many sick days, and then I actually got really sick and ended up with a lifelong disability known as fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. I unfortunately thought I was in remission for a while from it, but that wasn't to happen. So it got to be I was about the age of 23, and I was completely bedbound, stuck in a single apartment by myself. I couldn't work, I couldn't do pretty much anything. So I was completely at my wit's end. I had tried all these different types of medicine. I had been in and out of hospital, had ECGs, MRIs, everything. Nothing worked. I was on a ridiculous amount of painkillers as well, and it was killing me. I was like, I'm 23, this shouldn't be my life. So finally, I just remembered my history way back when of having my first business and working with crystals, and I thought I would give it a shot again. So I went out and grabbed myself a bunch of crystals and gave them a try, and sure enough, it worked, oddly enough. Like, I still get a lot of fatigue, I still get a lot of pain, but nowadays I'm off the painkillers, I'm certainly up and about, I run the business, I run around like crazy, I also work part-time, so things are greatly improved, which kind of then led me on to studying into a lot more about crystals and bits and pieces like that, and ended up studying crystal healing and herbalism, and also doing a lot of my own research, and then became what's pretty much known as a hedge witch. So that's a story for next week. I'll continue on the whole hedge witch thing then. Today I was trying to think about what I should present to you, considering last week was Red Tent. That had a very obvious inspiration. And this week I wasn't so sure. I couldn't really think of anything. And then my partner actually suggested to me, because at that stage my stepchildren were running crazy and being slightly demonic. The dogs were barking, the cat was annoying me, it was crazy. And so he was like, got any crystals? And I remembered, yeah, absolutely. So today I'm going to cover crystals for stress, quietening down the household, everything like that. First of all, I am definitely going to have to cover blue lace agate. It's all pretty and lacy, not that you can see because the sun's just making things crazy. But anyway, blue lace agate is one of the stones that is known for lowering the volume of communication in the house. So by that, it can mean children, it can mean dogs, it's anything, basically. It's also a stone of communication, so being the throat chakra, it allows for greater ease of communication in an area without getting emotions really involved. So if you tend to have a bit of a squabbly household, it can really help as well. Next up is sodalite. So this is sodalite. It's all pretty. It's got white bits and black bits and blue bits. Sodalite is one of the crystals that's most intensely used for relaxation. It's great if you're sleepy, especially if you have insomnia or something like that. It really helps you to relax to the point that you can fall asleep. And if not, if you're very stressed out, it really helps as a touchstone for moments of stress, and also to keep around the house. I recommend kind of gridding it throughout the house. Kind of helps everybody relax a bit. Next up is rhodonite. Now, this might seem like an odd choice. However, rhodonite is a stone of balance, which is kind of perfect for the loud, crazy household we tend to have, especially considering there is a 7-year-old and 5-year-old in it. It's really to kind of just help balance out everybody's moods, balance out everybody's reactions to things, keeps everybody from running hot-headed, which happens also a lot. So on from there is, I think it's going to get the sheen in it, just like the moonstone, but this is labradorite. So labradorite is another one of the feldspar group, which is my kind of favourite group of crystals. And the labradorite is, it's kind of like the dog. I know it's named after Labrador, where it was originally discovered and everything like that, but I just can't resist that whole idea that it's like the Labrador dog. It's exciting, it's spontaneous, it's happy, it's joyful. Labradorite really helps with that. It also helps to unblock the solar plexus chakra, which I'm indicating to you, but y'all can't even see anyway. However, yeah, so it's the solar plexus chakra, which is the area that is most sort of diminished in workaholics and everything like that. So for people who tend to be very stressy and overwork themselves, labradorite really helps with that. Lastly is sunstone. So sunstone's the super shiny, gorgeous one. And it's less about relaxation, more about energy and joy. Because after all the chaos of everything that's happening, you really still need to keep your energy up and to keep continuing on. Yay. So sunstone's one of those ones that really helps out to keep a good high level of energy, as well as keeping your joy up, keeping your mood up, because it's very easy to get jaded and worn out. I know that for sure. Moving on, as I mentioned before, we do have 2 questions to answer this week, which is so cool. The first one actually is a run-on from last week. Somebody asked me, why do I keep crystals in the dark, especially when I was like gesturing up to the crystal back there. And I kind of skipped over it a little bit, and they just wanted a bit more clarification. A lot of crystals, especially the really sort of delicate ones, the ones with a lot greater clarity and things like that, actually tend to lose their colour in sunlight. It will bleach them out completely. That's why we don't ever put amethyst clusters outside, things like that, because they will bleach off just into a milky white snow quartz. So one of the things of storing crystals is definitely try and keep them in the dark. Even if it's your most beautiful crystal and you want to have it on display, in a big display case, try and keep it dark. You wouldn't believe the amount of way that like the sunlight can destroy crystals. Some crystals are lucky, you can put them back in the dark and they actually regain their colour. There is an awesome word for it, which I completely forget right now. I'll probably add it in the comments. But yes, so keep your crystals out of the sunlight. Not good for them. The other question was more about energy and vibrations from crystals. It's like, you know, how to choose them, what does the energies mean, how does it all react, interplay, everything like that. And I thought this was actually a really good one to pick up, because this actually covers the first part of my crystal healing workshops, which is all about selecting your crystal and the sort of science, reasoning, understanding behind why they do what they do. So this theory starts off with crystal healing, that everything in your body, every organ, every cell, every single part that makes up your body has its own unique vibration. And so these vibrations, energy fields, or whatever you want to call it, resonate out through the body, and when your body's healthy, it's all in coherence with each other. It's like a choir where everything sounds right, everything's lifting and going well. When you get sick, when you get diseased or diseased, is when those vibrations start to go out of whack. It's when those vibrations start to become discordant with each other. So the concept is that these crystals also give off a vibration. And I mean, you know, the whole thing about colour vibrations already been done to death in science, so it's not too much of a step from there. And so these crystals react and give off these vibrations. So the idea is that by bringing them in proximity to the body, you can actually use them like a tuning fork for your own vibrations and re-normalize your own energies and your own sort of workings. How to choose crystals? Generally, they will choose you. People who are more intuitive and connected to that kind of thing will actually often feel one calling out to them. Some people just run their hands over them and feel the energies with their palms, and the right one will ping to them. I've seen other people who come up to my stall or my shop and actually use a pendulum over each and every one of them to determine which one's the right one. All of those methods are absolutely awesome. They're absolutely correct. Whatever you're comfortable with is absolutely fine. The other option for people who aren't as intuitive, who aren't as tuned into that kind of thing, is actually just go for the prettiest one. Go for the one that your eye is drawn to. Without a doubt, that will generally be the one for you. Now, why is all this important? Well, the idea is that if you have a crystal that's really in tune with you and is the right one for you, then it will react better and react stronger with you, and for whatever purpose you're using it for, it will actually be more useful. So it's like we have friends who are, more aligned with who we are than more clashing with who we are. It's just the way it is. We are attracted to that kind of thing. And so the final part of that was, what is the difference it can make to your ordinary life? And this is where it ties back into my story. I mean, mine is a massive difference, I will admit that. I went from being this bedridden, depressed, sad sack to being me. I'm fucking perky. Other people notice it much more subtly. Certainly a lot of crystals can take a lot of time to really kick into their full effects. Otherwise, I've heard of them changing lives, which sounds like such a culty thing, but it's really not like that. Interestingly enough, science is starting to come through. There has been a bunch of research done into crystals, especially for insomnia, as well as depression, and there's actually been quite a few articles that have been released recently about that. I will hopefully have some to post up to you all very soon. So that's this week done. Yay. Feel free to ask questions in the comments or get in touch with me. I am still bundling around Facebook. Look out for Gypsy Mischief. That's kind of the group to go to for all of this sort of information, to contact me, everything like that. Otherwise, I will see you all next week, where I'll be covering a few more topics and chatting my little butt off and probably swearing at you all too.